Cool. Hello, everybody. My name is James Evans from MMA UK, and today I'm joined by Modestas Bukauskas. I hope I haven't butchered that.
Smashed it, mate. Done.
But before we get into the interview, be sure to subscribe to MMA UK's YouTube for more content like this and more interviews. Well, first things first, Modestas, how are we?
Yes, doing very good, thank you. Literally just finished strength and conditioning now, so yeah, feeling good, feeling nice and loose.
So obviously you've spoken to MMA UK before. I've seen a couple of the interviews you've done with Katie, but you haven't sort of spoken to us since the announcement. How does it feel to finally make your UFC debut on July 15th?
Mate, it's absolutely amazing feeling. It's something that's one of a kind. Obviously when I got the call in January that I'd solidified my spot in the UFC already, that was a crazy feeling. But then nothing can beat the feeling of actually having a fight booked and having it solidified and knowing that in a couple of weeks you're going to be going out somewhere and yeah, about to go and throw down in the UFC cage, with the UFC gloves and everything. So yeah, mate, it's a crazy feeling. And do you know what? It's sort of been a long time coming, because I know obviously I've had a couple of interviews with Katie and stuff like that. I had a fight booked with the same opponent for May 16th, which was going to be in San Diego, and obviously I was actually quite looking forward to having an American debut, out in the States. But you couldn't really have asked for a better replacement, fighting your UFC debut in Abu Dhabi on a secluded island, away from everyone else. And it's going to go down in the history books. Every time people are going to look back on these events and the whole pandemic and the situation, they're going to be looking back. Oh yeah, there was this fight island, and the big talks and the big reveal and stuff like that. So yeah, I just can't wait to go out and put on a show, man. There's been a lot of hard work and a lot of graft, and now it's finally time to put it all on show.
Perfect. So around about January time, I believe you were signed on with the UFC. How did you first find out about the contract offer from UFC?
Right. So we had a couple of conversations with my manager. So after I defended my title, I was sort of trying to, obviously a month had gone by and I'm like, okay, I know I just got to keep in shape, keep training, and, maybe something will come up. But then, I think it got to after Christmas and into the new year, sort of January 1st, I was like, what's going on? Obviously after I just finished that fight, no injuries, anything like that, I'm ready to go once again, and stuff like that. So, and I was really just sort of trying to figure out what's my next move, because, do I defend the Cage Warriors title again? Am I going to be going to the UFC? So then I had a load of conversations with my manager. He told me, there could be a good possibility you get on last minute on UFC in London. So obviously stay in shape, he said. But also, we're going to try and get you on the Contender Series. So I literally had my head set completely on, I'm going to go to the Contender Series, and I'm going to work my way to the UFC from there. Then, my manager told me that he had meetings and stuff like that. So he would let me know how things sort of go on. So really in my head, I was sort of trying to figure out, what I was doing. But then in my mind, I had already set, okay, Contender Series, we know exactly what we're doing. I had no problem with that, because, going and fighting in Las Vegas, I mean, you couldn't really ask for anything better. But then next thing you know, I wake up at 3 a.m. for my usual midnight hit. And then go into the toilet, and then then I come back, and then I check my phone, and I saw that my manager give me 5 missed calls. Now, normally he doesn't give me a load of missed calls unless it's something really important. So I was like, but I had no idea. I generally didn't even have an inkling that may even be the case. And then he'd say, "Hey, Modestas, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, not too bad. It's 3 a.m. out here. I'm not doing too bad." And I said, I was quite sleepless anyway, so I thought, because I was going to wait till the morning to call, but I thought, why not, since I'm up. And then he goes, "How do you feel about fighting in the UFC?" And then I literally said wow for the next at least 7 minutes. I was completely speechless. I didn't really know what to say. It was a crazy experience. And then but it was sort of I already knew that was the next natural progression. So as much as it was like amazement and shock and all the hard work and all the adversity that I'd gone through to get to that point, even dislocating my knee, 3 weeks before the title defense and stuff like that, so much crap that I had to plow my way through, and then finally you get that call. It was weird because at the beginning it felt like a dream, but at the same time I'm like, this is what I've been working towards. So I still felt like, well, this is it. This is the next natural progression. This is exactly what I wanted. So it just gave me a load of excitement. And then obviously we talked for about half an hour, and then I was up like a giddy kid in a camp floor. And then next thing you know, I'll go to my dad's room, wake him up, told him, Dad, we did it. We're in the UFC, baby. And then, massive smile, literally smiling from ear to ear. He was smiling like a Cheshire cat for about 2 weeks. So, it was pretty crazy. But at the end of the day, we both knew that this is what we wanted. We both knew this was the next step. So as much as there was massive excitement and all these amazing feelings, it was still like, it felt natural. It felt like the next natural thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously you found out through your manager, and obviously you were starstruck, but obviously you knew that was sort of this next stage in your career after defending the Cage Warriors belt. Have you spoken to either Dana or anyone from the UFC since your announcement?
Well, we had a conference call with Dana White. That's about the closest I've gotten to speak to him. Obviously, I'm going to make sure I introduce myself with a spectacular performance when I go out on Fight Island. But that was about the closest. But even then, the fact that Dana White was talking to all of us fighters in real time, I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I felt like a VIP sort of thing. You know what I mean? It says, UFC fighters and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But and I haven't got to speak to him yet. But obviously, those things will come in time.
Mm. So July 15th, I believe, is your debut. You'll be on the same card as Molly McCann, Leroy Murphy, and Chris Fishgold, I believe. So the UFC have got such a plethora of British talent. How does it feel to be part of that set core?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're all representing, to the highest degree. You've got a load of amazing athletes, that, predominantly have been on Cage Warriors as well. So, to be on this, like, sort of almost a bit of a, I'm still Lithuanian. Like, at the end of the day, that is where I was born. That's where I hold most of my heritage and stuff like that. But, still, I've been living in Britain, pretty much most of my life since I was 3 years old. So obviously I'll represent Britain to the fullest as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a British invasion, isn't it? Or a bit of European invasion from us. But that's exactly how it was all laid out. In Fight Island, they said this is where the international fighters are going to get to showcase their skills. So, what better way than to put a lot of people from, the same. I'm guessing that we're probably all going to be on the same flight and stuff. These are sort of things that you would expect is going to happen. All the British fighters are going to come from here and go to the island together and stuff like that. But to be able to represent, my country proudly and stuff like that, and also to represent Britain proudly, it means a lot. I'm very patriotic, and at the end of the day, I want to show that us small countries can go out and do the big business, out in these big promotions.
Yeah, obviously you said you were born in Lithuania. Christ, I don't want to butcher this. Was it Klaipėda? Am I pronouncing that right?
Klaipėda.
So obviously you've got the Lithuania and the British connections. How does it feel to represent both England and Lithuania? Probably essentially what is the pinnacle of the sport.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, to be the first Lithuanian-born athlete in the UFC, that will go down in the history books, and it's an amazing feeling. I've got the whole country, backing me, behind me, and giving me love and support, and and well wishes and stuff like that. It means a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive thing. Obviously, when people hear me talk, then they're like, oh, then that's definitely the British side sort of coming out, stuff like that. But yeah, like, it feels amazing to be part of such a wide community, like such a massive community, loads of amazing people. And I've been given so much support and such guidance throughout my career that, I want to give back by giving out amazing performances and, finally getting to the highest level and stuff like that. It's amazing, really feeling like you're representing your country, proudly and stuff like that. So it's almost like you're going to the Olympics, except, you know, our Olympics are going on, you know, four times a year, or however many times you fight a year. And, you know, so, yeah, every time I step into the cage, I'm going to be representing to the fullest. And, yeah, like I say, I can't wait to show out what we're made of. And I think, especially, like I said, you know, all the Lithuanian news sites there, you know, they say they're proud of their boy to finally get onto the highest stage, and you know, that definitely means a lot to me, and I feel that that's going to bring the best out of me when I get inside the cage.
Yeah, that must feel a little bit all but special. Obviously hearing that from the Lithuanian press, all sorts of the British sites across backing you. You've got various countries backing you. I'm sure that's just going to give you that extra motivation for your UFC debut. You spoke about the sort of potentially, you don't know, going to Yas Island, which is in Abu Dhabi, which is Fight Island, I believe, potentially with the other British fighters. Have you heard any updates on sort of the travelling situation? Do you know when you go out to Abu Dhabi?
I'm pretty sure I'll find out. Well, I know that I'll be leaving on the 11th, but aside from that, I have no idea what they literally just said, what's the closest airport for you to go from? And that's about it. Literally, that's all that I know. As I know which airport I'll be going from, but that's about it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that they'll let everything to be known, like, pretty much last minute. But yeah, like I say, I'm embracing the whole situation, embracing the moment, and yeah, I can imagine when, you know, all the tickets get done and stuff like that, then it'll bring even more excitement, you know, because you're finally getting much closer to the actual event itself.
So you're fighting Vinicius Moreira on that card. You're unbeaten in 6. How will that benefit you coming into that fight with Vinicius?
Well, I feel, yeah, obviously he's coming off of 3 losses. I'm coming off of 6 wins, all by finish. So, you know, obviously I've got quite a lot more momentum on my side. But if you're talking, you know, specifically skill set wise, you know, he's a very high level grappler. You've got to give him a lot of respect to what he does really well, because he does it really well. He's able to close the distance, getting on his opponents. But he hasn't been able to do that at the UFC level. He's been able to do it on the regional level, but he's not been able to do that so well on the UFC level. And obviously it shows that, you know, that the stand-up is one area where he's lacking. And that is one area where I'm clearly going to have the upper edge. Obviously, I know he's going to be training. He's going to be working to improve his game. But I definitely feel I'm on a completely different class to him, and especially in that area. Not only that, listen, my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu are big parts of my game as well. People almost underestimate it. They don't think about it. They see me getting taken down. But listen, I'm getting back up to my feet. Doesn't matter that they took me down, but I'm getting straight back up to my feet. They've not managed to do much damage whilst I've been on the floor either. So, you know, and I've only gotten better. This is another thing. People think I'm staying stagnant. People think I'm going to be exactly the same like I was last year. That is completely, you know, false. Since the lockdown, since my last fight, I've leveled up massively in every single area, even in the striking department. So that should be a very scary thing for my opponent. The fact that my striking has leveled up even more, especially in the kicking department. So, you know, like I say, I'm going to capitalize from being able to stop the takedown and land some heavy shots. The same way that he's managed to overwhelm and you know, suffocate people on the floor, that is exactly what I'm going to do from stand up. You know, stop the takedown and capitalize. He's very dangerous in what he does, but I feel I am much more dominant in the areas that I can go and do damage on him, and that is inevitably what will win the fight.
That's a bit of a scary thought, you saying you've bettered up on your striking. I've got to feel sorry for Vinicius on July 15th. Obviously, you did mention he's a grappler. He's a bit of a submission artist. Have you prepared for a guy like Vinicius, and what sort of cautions have you got to take for a guy like Vinicius?
Listen, at the end of the day, I grapple with very high level grapplers anyways. It's ones that are a lot more explosive. I've got guys that imitate how Vinicius moves, you know, in a bit more of a slow, relaxed kind of way, but very methodical, very tactical. You know, like I say, you got to give this guy massive credit. He's a very high level black belt. But of course, you know, I've got training partners that are helping me every single day to get the best out of myself, to improve my skill set, to get me to the highest level, you know. So, you know, as he may be, that may be his massive strong suit, I'm still leveling up in those areas as well myself. So, of course, I've been working on the defense, but I've been working on offense as well. At the end of the day, Sean O'Malley talks a lot about, him wanting to submit guys when he's on the floor. And I'm going to get to that point. Danny Batten, one of my coaches, says that all the time, that it will get to that point where I'm going to be going a lot more for submissions. And again, it's MMA. So, you land some strikes and stuff like that. So, I mean, look, we're obviously doing a lot of anti-wrestling, a lot of anti-grappling and stuff like that. But listen, wherever the fight goes, I'll be ready. Doesn't matter where it's going to be. I'm working on every single aspect so that there's literally no advantage that he has over me.
Obviously, the fact that you were a Cage Warriors champion and you defended the belt, you're making your UFC debut. Does the factor of being a champion in another promotion give you that edge over fellow contenders wanting to break into the top 15?
I think it definitely holds a lot of value because, you've got guys like Conor McGregor, Michael Bisping. You've got such massive names which have held the Cage Warriors belt that have gone on to do such great things. So obviously that gives you a bit more of a more of an in to sort of be able to get to the highest level. It gives you more of a promotional tool as well, and stuff like that. So, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a very prestigious title. It's probably the biggest title in Europe. So, at the end of the day, yeah, having held that belt, I think it does put a bit more eyes on you. So then it means that you could potentially work up the ranks a bit better. But look, at the end of the day, I've got to go fight by fight, day by day, go and smash my opponents on the way to the top, and just you got to take out whoever they put in front of you, whoever they say, you got to fight this guy or that guy. You just got to go out and do the business. At the end of the day, it's what your performance is going to show. I'll let my my personality and my flamboyance show, but at the same time, I'm going to go out and do the business in the cage, and that's what's going to get me the big fights and make me work up the ranks.
100%. Obviously, you alluded to earlier that you were supposed to fight Vinicius in May. Obviously, it's frustrating due to COVID that it got postponed, but now you're fighting again in July. How have you benefited from this sort of delay, and how has that affected your training?
Well, it just meant that I've gotten even better. That my cardio's gotten better. It's given me more time to improve. Obviously, restrictions sort of got lowered a little bit as time went on with this whole situation. At the beginning it was very strict, but then it slowly, like I said, it eased off a little bit. So then that's when I've been able to bring in more training partners just to my house and stuff like that. We've all been COVID tested and made sure that we take all precautions, and they're able to help me specifically. That's one thing that I'd say is that I've had a bit more of an edge, is that when you go to training in the normal sort of environment, and you go to classes and stuff like that, you're training just the session where the teacher wants to teach you something, and you just have to be subject to whatever they're teaching. And of course, that's going to improve your skill set, it's going to improve your game and everything. But now I've had stuff that's done. My training partners, which I've got to give them massive thanks because I've got such an amazing team behind me, but they're doing everything specific to what I need to do, what I want to improve, what I need to do. I'm getting to go over moves that I didn't get to, make as crisp or as clean, and now they've become a lot more solidified and stuff like that. So, mate, there's been a hell of a lot of improvement. I was able to run more at the beginning, which means that my cardio tank has gotten even better. So my strength and conditioning has got even better. I've got a great nutritionist in Declan Walsh. So, over the course of time, my training just ramped up even more. As restrictions got lowered, I've been able to get training partners in to help me specifically for this opponent. Everything that has been done is for me to go out and put on a great performance. So, yeah, now it's just down to me going inside the cage, being confident, enjoying the moment, and just going out, relaxing and performing. And that's exactly it. So I really could not have done anything more to prepare for this fight.
Again, you mentioned earlier that Vinicius is obviously on a 3-fight losing streak, all first-round defeats. Are you preparing to get him away early? If not, how do you see the fight going?
Obviously, in the chaos of a fight, you don't know what could happen. You don't know how, he may try and slow down the fight or what he may do. But I do predict that I'm going to go and finish him in the first round. At the end of the day, I know my striking is on a level where he has not even seen that before. Even though he's fought some very good opponents, it's nowhere near the level where I'm at. And I'm ready to go out and show and land these hard, aggressive strikes to go. I'm looking to go and put him away in the first round because I want to, like I said, I want to overwhelm him. I want to give him absolutely no chance to even think that he can get me to the floor or get me to do anything that he needs to do. Whatever it is, it's a 30-foot cage as well, so it's a big environment. It's much bigger than what I'm used to. I'm going to be sharp. I'm going to be aggressive. And yeah, of course, listen, as a guy, who's got 9 finishes myself, I'm looking to go and finish this guy and put him away early. Because again, I mean, you want to go and get the 50 Gs. You want to be entertained. You want to be flamboyant. You want to do all sorts of things. So you've got to put it all out on the line. So of course, that is what I'm going for.
Certainly, and a big win like that in July is going to put your name on the map. And hopefully, with a big win over Vinicius, you'll get that potentially a top 15 opponent next. If not, what's next after Vinicius? Should you beat him?
I'll go opponent by opponent. At the end of the day, I'm looking to have 3 fights this year. That's my goal. So to stay healthy, to stay uninjured, to win my fights and stuff like that. And go finish these 3 fights. Go finish 3 fights this year strong. And then, like I say, go and head into the top 15. Go work my way up the ranks. I want to fight for a UFC title within 2 to 3 years. So I'm going to do everything I can possible. There's some big names coming up. A lot of people sleep on the light heavyweight division. They think that there's not that many guys. There's a whole bunch of killers out there, and there's a long list of names that I need to go through to get there. But I'm willing to do everything it takes to go and work my way up the ranks. So step by step, little by little, ranking by ranking, I'm going to work my way up to the top. So that's the way I see the journey going from here on out.
No, nothing but respect. I read that recently you said you want to become the next big thing. If you beat Vinicius, obviously you said you want to fight 3 times this year. What are your plans for the rest of this year and 2021?
Well, so obviously get 3 big wins this year. I mean, listen, it's in my mind to go and win these 3 fights, all by finish, all by performance bonus. I want to go out there and really like put on an absolute show. You want to be remembered in this game. I've got a very short time. I've only got about 12 years maybe in this game. I want to put everything out and put everything out on the line. So, in 2021, that's where we're going to be breaking into the top 15 ranks, and we're going to start taking out the top contenders. And yeah, like I say, I'm hoping that through my character, my personality and stuff like that, just being myself, just going out there, being confident, go out and put on these performances, things will elevate bit by bit. And listen, I can't wait for the journey. I embrace all the pressure, all the crazy situations now, and it becomes almost like normal to me. Anything that gives you adrenaline, or like even going on shows like Take Me Out and stuff like that, like it gives me like anything that sort of is nerve-wracking or crazy or scary. Like now, to me, I love it. I love that feeling. Like I want to have that feeling. It's like a buzz. So with that, I think that's what's going to bring out the best of me.
Talking about your journey, obviously, with most fighters, they've sort of had to deal with their ups and downs in their career. What have you sort of had? How have you had to deal with the ups and the downs? And what does it take to reach the pinnacle of the sport?
Well, I've been training in martial arts since I was 5 years old. I took a little bit of a break, went to America and stuff like that. But then when I came back, I was like literally thrust straight into it. And that's when I decided this is exactly what I want. I don't want nothing else. So, everything, I think everything happens to be able to better yourself, or it all happens for a reason for your particular journey. So, going 7-1 at amateur with 2 titles, going 4-0 at the beginning of my professional career and stuff like that, getting out to train with Jon Jones, being one of his main sparring partners leading up to Ovent St. Preux, being on top of the world. And then next thing I lose 2 fights, back to back. Again, it just wasn't me mentally. I had a lot of barriers that I still did not overcome. I was thinking more about what happens after the fight as opposed to getting out there and doing the job itself and actually enjoying that whole situation. I wasn't enjoying the whole situation, and I'm like, why did I feel like that? And skill set wise, I was definitely there, and obviously I've improved a hell of a lot since those times. But I've done. When I went to those fights, it's just something that just didn't click to be able to let myself show out the best of myself, and it was a lot of things that I needed to improve on. Especially after the second loss, you have to sort of take a step back. Sometimes you just can't keep plowing forward doing the same thing, but clearly something's not working right. So we changed my nutrition, we changed You know, my training, I was completely overtrained. If I can give any advice to any young fighters, is do not overtrain. You need to listen to your body. Don't feel like, you know, you're being a wimp because you're not going to train. If your body is generally like exhausted, you cannot train. You're going to make it even worse for yourself. So that was another thing. I was completely over. I need to go into the cage with the intention of hurting someone, not the intention of winning, the intention of hurting someone. If you go in there, you know, like some people, you know, can have that, you know, still sportsman-like attitude. And I've had it my whole life and I still do. I pay every fighter respect after the fight, but during the fight, you have to be a killer. I feel like that's the only way to bring out the best of myself. As crazy as that sounds, that's the only way to get the absolute best out of myself, is for me to be a killer in there and actually want to hurt people. And, you know, I had to go through that with the boxing sparring. That was one big thing that we changed is, you know, I don't do as much of it now, but back then I needed it just to get that aggression out there, just to know that these guys are trying to knock you out. It's not just sparring, they are trying to finish you, trying to end you, and you need to give it back to them. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be finished. So, you know, going through those situations and having those hard spars really showed me, you know, that I need to be mentally in a completely different space when I'm fighting. And there was a whole lot of improvements that were made. And yeah, it was unfortunate then when I was feeling in the best shape of my life, I got injured. You know, I think having everyone turn their back on you, think nothing of you, you know, people leave you, people not believe in you. I think I needed that because, you know, that gave me the extra motivation and inspiration to go back and prove everyone wrong. I think that's been a big thing. You know, every single fight, I've had to prove something, and that's given me that extra fire. Some people say it's a bad thing, but I think it's a very good thing. It just gives me a whole nother, like I said, added motivation, inspiration, just that extra fire that, you know, I wouldn't have had had people not believe in me. You know, when everything's all good when you're doing great. As soon as you do bad, who the hell was right there next to you? You know, the main people that I had next to me was my dad, especially when, you know, things were like literally at the bottom, like literally the rock bottom. You know, like I said, people leaving me, splitting up with a long-time girlfriend, injuring my leg, losing a sponsor, no money, no job, nothing like that. And to get back from there was like honestly the hardest thing ever, because mentally I was in a space where I generally think I was quite depressed, and like, you know, I'll be crying in my room every day thinking like, what the hell's going on with my life? Like, why is this happening to me? I've been doing everything right. I'm a good moral person. I don't do nothing wrong. I try and do things like, you know, how it should be. And then next thing you know, it just gets all shit on me basically. And I'm just thinking, you know, is that supposed to happen to me, you know, and stuff like that. But it's good. My dad, he always told me, he said, listen, Modestas, you're going to be a champion. You just need to push through this. I can see the skill set. I can see the potential. You're not going to, you know, these things you need to have to be able to, you know, and you highlighted the things that were wrong. Now you've corrected them, and now you can go forward and really push through. So, you know, once we got the operation, we got things rolling, you know, and the ball started rolling. Little by little, I made small, significant victories, little step by step. And then that's what's inevitably led to now. And now it's my time to make a massive trajectory into the world. This is what I've been dreaming about. This is what I've been visualizing. This is everything that I've been thinking about since I've started doing MMA. So I know that now this is why I say this is my time. This is my time to make my come up, to make my rise, to go and show the world what I'm really made of. I wasn't able to do it before. I was a bit too young, but now I'm mature. I'm much more skilled. I'm developed, and now I'm ready to go and do the business.
Speaking of the topic of inspiration, would you say over the years it's been your dad who's inspired you the most? Because obviously, like you said, he's been with you from day one. He's been in your corner when you've had your ups and your downs. He's always giving you that sort of motivation to take one step further. Would you say your dad's been your biggest inspiration over the years?
100%. Like, I think, you know, my dad being such a good fighter back in the day, you know, even before MMA was like a solidified sport and stuff like that, him beating, you know, much bigger, you know, you could say tougher guys, and, you know, overcoming the odds all the time, and, you know, people not believing in him and then him proving them wrong and stuff like that, him telling me all these stories, it really always gives me motivation. And you know, at the same time, it's just I want to make his life better. I want to make my family's life better. So, you know, and the fact that he was such an amazing athlete, and you can see the way he looks at me and the way he trains me, he puts his heart and soul, and you just want to give back by going out there and putting on amazing performances. You want to show that everything that he's been teaching me over the years is now paying dividends, and and stuff like that. I really want to show him that everything he's taught me is paying off. Dad, we're going to go and do this. We're going to go and make it together. We're going to go and make it to the top. I've got to say another big added inspirations, obviously Jon Jones. I mean, even when I met him again at Body Power just before my Moth and Hamlet fight, him recognizing exactly who I was. There's a massive crowd of people. They're thinking, oh yeah, this guy's just in the fast lane. He just wants to get an autograph from Jon Jones. The next thing he comes up to me and hugs me like as if he's known me, because he has. And everyone's like, who's this guy? So, and for me to be able to, go in the cage and hold my own against guys like that, who's like literally the GOAT and, the best in the world, I think it just gave me that motivation to show, like, listen, you can do it. You can compete with the best guys in the world. That was a massive turning point for me. Although things didn't go so well straight after that in my career, it did show me back then. And even now I look back to that day, I'm like, it just shows me I'm meant to be fighting against the top guys in the world. If I'm going out there and, these guys are giving me advice and they're seeing stuff in me and they're seeing potential, it just shows that, they wouldn't be saying that for no reason. So that gave me an extra boost. And, I've got to thank him all the time for all the training and advice that he gave me when I was out there and stuff like that. It always gives me, like I say, just that extra boost, knowing that, you're training alongside the GOAT. And not only that, on the Jackson Wink page, they put a picture of me and him saying the present and the future. And all I've got to say is, well, listen, now the future is happening. So, I can't wait to go out and make my rise through the UFC light heavyweight ranks.
Touching on Jackson Week, you trained with Jon Jones, obviously. How much experience did training with Jon Jones and at Jackson Week Academy give you? And how much did that mentally help you and push you on in your career?
Yeah, I think it helped me develop in certain areas where I wasn't so good. It's like on wrestling defense. That it definitely helped me a lot with that, just to sort of know the skill sets that I need to do in order to be able to work off like really good anti-wrestling and stuff like that. Again, it just gave me a lot as well, like I say, mentally hanging in there with these top level guys, even with their heavyweights and stuff like that, and giving them trouble. So as my career went on, it just gave me a massive great foundation to go out and do big things. When I started slowly sort of tweaking things and fine tuning stuff, that's when it really started to show. But Jackson's helped me lay the foundation as to what was going to happen within the next years to come. So, and I mean, listen, when you see all these superstars on TV, like the first time Jon Jones walked into the room, I was completely starstruck. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I want to show that I'm skillful. I want to show that I'm respectful, and I want to get some good training in. So, the whole experience, from there, has sort of led to my mindset now, and sort of led. It was neat. It was a vital part of my journey. Like, looking back, that was all of the stuff that happened, even with the losses, even with the injuries, even with going out there, that was all needed to get me to the point where I am now. And it's going to project me even further as my career goes on. I believe now, like I said, Jon Jones straight away got into the sport and went on a meteoric rise. I believe that I will be making that same meteoric rise. Obviously you got to take into account that the skill level with the UFC and MMA fighters in general is going up massively. So obviously guys are going to be training hard. They're going to be working to improve themselves as much as possible. But so am I, and I'm glad that I've made those steps, like going to Jackson's earlier on in my career, to really progress myself, because that's what's going to give me an edge over the competition in the future.
Speaking of, obviously earlier, you alluded to the fact that you wanted to fight for the belt in 2 to 3 years. Now, this is going to be a bit of a tough one for you, but if Jon Jones was still the champion in 2 or 3 years, would you consider fighting him?
I think, that would, maybe a fight that would bring him back. Maybe he doesn't see, a fight to really want to go and like really put himself out there for right now. But maybe when it comes to me, going for a title contention, stuff like that, and work on my way to the top, I think it's an amazing thing. Like Israel Adesanya with Anderson Silva, he's been watching this guy his whole life, and then he's fighting him. Same with McGregor and Aldo. That was someone that he looked up to as well. And now, that saying when they say your idols become your rivals. So with the greatest respect, imagine that the guy that you've been looking up to the whole time, you've been learning all these things. You've been training in the training room. Now you get to go out and see what will happen in real life. I think that would be quite an amazing story and an amazing, sort of pinnacle for me career-wise, to fight your idol, to really see what you're made of. And to fight the greatest of all time. I mean, it'll be an absolutely amazing experience, and I think it would definitely put on a massive show for the fans. So, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Like I said, the next 2-3 years. But that would be something that is almost like storybook, like like movie type sort of type deal. So I definitely would do that. Yeah.
So obviously, so many people have tried with Jon Jones, and so many have failed. Obviously, with that sort of experience with training with him at Jackson Week, do you see any flaws in his game?
Listen, he's a very experienced veteran. He's got an extremely amazing wrestling base. His jiu-jitsu is much better than guys think, especially on the floor. He's good at getting up to his feet. And his striking is very good. He has got caught in some of his last couple of fights with certain shots. So, again, with the greatest respect, I still think that there will be holes where I would be able to get in on him on the striking aspect. But look, at the end of the day, he's an amazing athlete and an amazing fighter. So, like I say, if that ever happens, that will be when we'll see exactly how our styles fare against each other.
Am I right in saying that you were a former middleweight back in the day?
Yes, I was.
How much have you benefited from the move up to 205 from 185?
I think I naturally filled out. I mean, listen, mate, I would literally have to chop an arm off to make middleweight now. Like, I don't know how the hell I did it before. I was so skinny and I was just sunken in, and I looked ill. I generally looked ill. And I think it just wasn't the weight class for me. I've definitely benefited moving up to light heavyweight. The weight cut is still tough. Don't get me wrong. Now, as the muscle I've built and stuff like that, it's getting a lot tougher. But I think even with the injuries and stuff like that, I remember when I got the injury in the first place, we sat down and we still did kettlebell, still did punching and stuff like that. So we added the strength and conditioning. So I naturally filled out. So naturally I became a light heavyweight, where I just wasn't able to do that when I was a little bit younger. So I think it's definitely benefited in my career, because it means I'm going into sessions with more energy. I'm making weight a hell of a lot easier, and it's just better on my overall mental stability and stuff like that. And like I said, I can just go into training sessions, think about what I'm doing. That's why my skill set has shot up so massively, because I'm not going into training session thinking. Hello?
Oh, you're right there. So I think we just got off there.
Yeah, no worries. Did you get everything that I said?
I thought it just sort of cut off midway through, but I think I got the majority of what you said.
Hello? I think it cut off.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, with that question, I think I got the majority of it.
Okay.
So obviously with July 15th around the corner, what's your daily training routine? How's that been?
Daily training, pretty much twice a day, 6 times a week. I have a very structured system. I do training with my dad predominantly in the mornings, every morning, and then I have my specific other skill type training. So it's mainly stand up or strength and conditioning in the morning, and then the evening it's predominantly grappling based. So I'm getting a very good overall level of training just all round. Like I said, every skill aspect is taken into account fully. and everything's been very specific towards me. So yeah, I couldn't ask for any better training. I think I've got in some ways better training than I did before quarantine. So I'm very grateful.
From some of the stuff I've seen on your social media, you're very positive in the way you go about your day-to-day life. Do you sort of bring that positivity into the gym, and how important is it to bring that sort of positive energy to the gym? And does it give you that sort of drive to train on a day-to-day basis?
Listen, you've got to have them. You've got to have them visions of success. You've got to have the visions of prosperity and doing well, and making your family proud, making your country proud, and all these really good feelings are just it just radiates around me, and I love it, and I love being around people that I love, and that even my training partners that I go to in training sessions, we all get along really well. I get along with all my head coaches, get along with my dad. It just bounces off. It's just like a compounding effect. Like everything that goes on good in my life then just gets radiated everywhere else, and it's like I said, I mean, how could you not enjoy life? I'm fighting in the UFC. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to Abu Dhabi. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening. There's a lot of good things that have happened in my life, especially even this year. And so I've got to be very grateful for everything that I got. And I think, yeah, you can't be going around, with a negative attitude. Obviously, it's gonna boil over onto everything that you do. Your training sessions aren't going to be good. You're not going to concentrate. You've got to be in the best mindset possible. And like I said, I'm just enjoying the whole process. The whole process is amazing, and I'm loving every bit of it. And I think the fact that I love what I do. I love all the training, and I think even the fact of just sort of enjoying learning stuff, enjoying doing different things, enjoying doing interviews, and enjoying everything. It just makes for a much better, happy environment. Law of attraction, just all good things then come to you, all positivity, and like I said, it's always good because I'm around good people. I never put myself around negative people. Always put myself around people that want to bring themselves up, and then we just bring each other up together. And I think that's the best way to live, man. And obviously there was some very dark times that I've had to go through, but I'm trying to live every day, even if things, sort of don't go right. Even when, I injured 3 weeks before my title fight, like I started to think on the positive. Okay, I'm going to get my physio. We're going to do the exercise. We're going to come back. You just got to always think on the way up. You can't let bad things, consume you and put yourself in a bad state of mind, because that's not going to bode well for anything else that you do in life. So man, I guess from, like I said, going into all these situations where you're under more pressure, or there's more fear involved, it just makes you realize that it's not even that bad. Like, do you know what I mean? All these so-called bad and scary things are really not that bad. I've done it all. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and I can't wait to do even more scary things, because that's what gives me that massive rush. So I just try and live life like that. And I think that's the only way you're going to get the most out of life. And that's what I think is another big sort of focus, is to get the most out of your life. I'm 26 now. I've got a 10-year career, maybe 12, depending on how things go. I've got to make the most of it. And that is the only way I can imagine doing it.
I've seen as well, you've got a YouTube channel. What was the reasoning behind setting that up? And is that a good sort of downtime to have after the gym and after training?
Oh, yeah. Well, do you know what? I've been struggling to sort of think of what particular videos I wanted to do, as of late. And, then obviously I've been concentrating on the fight. Obviously, that's no excuse. I want to try and put out more content and stuff. It's just to show people who I am. What I mean? A lot of people, they see who I am in the cage. They see what goes on, but they don't know what's going on in my daily life. And, I just want to be able to project that to people and, give people even entertainment in that area as well. At the end of the day, not many people are putting up videos on how to be tough and like that. So, you know, I just want to, you know, and it's interesting for me. It's entertaining for me. It's good for me to work on my video editing skills. So there's a lot of positives that go through it. It's just to show a different side of me. Like I said, everyone sees the ferocity in the cage and, you know, what I'm like in interviews and stuff like that, but they don't get to really see the real me. And you know, that's the best way to do it. And I think it's a good way to vlog all the experiences and all the stuff that happens in my life. It's like a way to like sort of like keep a log, and it's great to look back once you've done everything, and you know, and everything's said and done. It will be great to look back and see all the amazing experiences that I've been able to do, and again just be very grateful and fortunate for having all of that.
Obviously fighting's first. After your debut against Vinicius, do you plan to upload any content during your travel to Yas Island and during your time there?
Yeah, 100%. I think I'll be doing content a lot more closely during my fight week. I think that's what I'll do, because I've seen Sean O'Malley doing stuff like that on his page, and I think I'll probably follow suit. I'll do sort of like a fight week sort of vlog and stuff like that, and record all the experiences around it. So yeah, man, get ready for that. It'll be coming shortly after the fight, that's for sure.
So for those who aren't subscribed, why? What is your YouTube channel?
It is my name, which is Modestas Bukauskas. Obviously, it's a bit of a mouthful, but I'll just spell it out for you really quickly. It's Modestas, and then my surname Bukauskas, and that's literally the name of the channel. So I think like if you type my name in on YouTube, and then it'll be like the 4th or 5th thing down, it'll come up with my channel. And then yeah, that's it. Go and check it out, because like I say, I'm going to be pumping out more content as this journey continues.
No, certainly worth the subscription. It's such an entertaining channel. I enjoy watching your content, mate.
Thank you, my man.
Just a couple of quick fire questions just to sort of wrap up the interview. I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate it. What's the best advice you've sort of received during your career?
I think it's just not don't let I guess you could say don't let fear consume you. Like, you know, I think again that probably resonates a lot with what a lot of other people say, but it really is true. Don't let fear consume you. Let it bring the best out of you. I think with the butterflies that you get right before a fight, you know, you just need to use that to think, okay, I'm going to go out and show everything I have, instead of, oh my gosh, like what happens here, what happens there. Just be yourself. Just like absolutely embrace everything that you have. I think, that'll be probably the biggest piece of advice. I've noticed that when I've been scared or whatever, and I just thought, do you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to completely just love this moment and enjoy it. That's where I've managed to get the most out of myself, not just like as a person, but obviously in my fighting career. So that's probably the biggest golden nugget, I guess you could say I have.
You fought 12 times in your career. Who would you consider, well, in your professional career, who would you consider as your toughest opponent to date?
That's a tough one. Probably I'd say probably Wojciech was my hardest opponent. I think skills-wise, he had the most overall game that I've faced. So, yeah, I'll say probably Wojciech.
That was cage-wise 102, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So obviously recently in this interview, you talked about your sort of advice for someone who wants to become a fighter. Your advice was listen to your coaches. Would you say that was the most important tip you'd give to someone who wants to be an MMA fighter?
Most important tip is probably actually just, yeah, exactly, like just learn as much as you can. Don't think you're ever too good for anyone. You can learn something from a lot of people. I think you basically just got to try and absorb as much knowledge as you can, and basically just always be willing to learn, I think is the main point. You know, if there's ever a point where you think you're already too good, then that's when you're never going to progress. You need to make sure you're always trying to learn something. And the thing is, in this martial arts game, there's so many techniques, there's so many different things. So, you know, like for guys to be the best jiu-jitsu guys, they train just jiu-jitsu, and then they get the most out of that. But you know, in MMA, you have to do 3 or 4 different martial arts, or whatever, 5, 6 different martial arts, and you have to try and get the most out of everything. So you've always got to be constantly learning, I think is a big tip.
Do you have any rituals before a fight?
I don't necessarily think I have any rituals or anything like that. I think I've done a lot more visualization now before fights that I've done that I didn't do previously. But I think that just comes with the territory of you're going into a lot more high significant fights, with a lot more importance, and you just want to be as comfortable as you can into the cage, and the best way to do that is through visualization. And what the mind can conceive, the body can achieve. So like I say, if I see it in my head, it makes everything then when I go out and do it on the day seem even more real, that I'm going to go out and do exactly what I thought
of. Just to wrap things up, what's your message to the fans that will be supporting you on July 15th?
All I've got to say is, obviously, massive thank you for everyone for the love and support. You lot have been truly exceptional, sending me amazing messages, and everyone's been really like getting right behind all the other fighters, and we've got to give you amazing thanks, because without you lot, we wouldn't be able to go out and do the things that we do. But all I've got to say is get ready for the most explosive Modestas that you've seen throughout all my fighting career. Get ready for the most flamboyant, most dangerous, most aggressive guy that you've seen. This is me literally at the height of my athletic career so far. This is so far. It's only going to get better. I'm only going to get stronger. Only going to get faster. Only going to get more technical. So the start of that journey starts on July 15th when I go and knock out my opponent impressively, go and get me that 50 Gs and move forward. This is my time. I'm ready to go towards the top, and this is a steamroll train that it ain't about to stop.
Well, they have it. Modestas Bukauskas, everyone. Modestas, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I really appreciate it.
No
as a fan, I cannot wait to see you perform on July 15th, and I'm wishing you all the best, mate. And I'm sure and I know for a fact you'll get that dub on July.
Thank you so much, my man. Really appreciate it. I can't wait to put on a performance for you. Obviously, thank you so much for having me on and everything. And just can't wait. Thank you so much, mate.
Perfect, mate. Thank you very much. Take care. All the best.
You take care, man. All the best. Bye-bye.